This presentation includes information regarding our discussions in which we are considering changes to the elementary school boundaries in the Logan City School District. There are two primary reasons for having this discussion. One is our transitioning of Hillcrest Elementary School to be a whole school DLI magnet school, which will host both our Spanish and Portuguese programs. The second reason for having this discussion is the rapid enrollment growth that we have been seeing on the west side of our district due to new construction projects in the city of Logan. Our process, as we've been working through it over the last year, has had the following goals. First, to maximize as much as possible the efficient use of the physical resources of the district. This allows each school the capacity to have room for some potential growth and allows us to minimize as much as possible supplemental busing or pocket busing. We want to promote student safety by encouraging safe walking routes and preserve contiguous boundaries as much as possible and have neighborhood schools where it's feasible. And then we want to balance the demographics of each school in as much as feasible. So just for a little bit of background information with the process that's been followed, back in February of 2021, the district administration worked with the school board to review our building capacities for elementary school, the projected enrollments at each school, and the priorities that we wanted to set for any boundary discussion process. And then finally, we formed a district boundary committee with representatives from parents and teachers from different schools. In March through April, the committee met to review different variations of boundary options and to provide feedback on the priorities that needed to be considered, as well as where certain neighborhoods should be assigned in terms of their school boundaries. And finally, in May of 2021, the preferred options for the boundary committee were presented to the Board of Education. After reviewing those recommendations and considering the building capacity of each school and the total number of students in each school's proposed boundary, the district considered the number of students that would be in each grade level and in each classroom. Based on that information, the proposed boundaries were slightly revised, which led to the following results. With the boundary options that you're about to see, all schools in the district are projected to be between 81% and 94% of their open enrollment capacity. What this means is some schools will have slightly lower percentages of enrollment, and we've done that to try to allow for potential growth that we see on the horizon in that school's boundary. The open enrollment capacity is 90% of the school's actual capacity, how many students you could fit in the building based on the number of classrooms that we have. So 90% of that is our open enrollment capacity. So for a school to be between 81 to 94% of their open enrollment capacity is generally going to put them between 75 to 85% of their actual building capacity. The average elementary class size will be 23 students, with our classes ranging between 21 to 24, and the majority of our teachers will be able to remain in their current building or their current assignment. So we believe that with these options and with these outcomes, the boundaries that we are about to propose and the board is discussing will be beneficial for the students of our district. Students who live more than 1.5 miles from their assigned school will be eligible for district-provided busing. Students who wish to attend a school other than the school they are assigned to will need to submit an open enrollment permit to their desired school. There will be more information on that at the end of this presentation. Students who are currently enrolled in a dual language immersion class, either Spanish or Portuguese, will automatically continue that enrollment. So, Adams Elementary is proposed to have the boundaries you see on the screen there. This will include the current Adams and Hillcrest neighborhood boundaries, but the southern Adams boundary will move to 400 North. This will be to prevent students from having to cross the busy intersection at 400 North on their way to and from school every day. This boundary, as you can see there, is projected to have approximately 351 students in grades kindergarten through 5th grade. And if we take some new construction into account that is planned for the current Hillcrest area, we expect that to rise to around 360, 370 students. The school's open enrollment capacity is 399 students, so that puts Adams at a 88% of their open enrollment capacity with these boundaries. And again, that's with class sizes being between 21 to 24 students in all grades. Bridger Elementary will have the boundaries that you see before you there. These are essentially the same boundaries as Bridger has had in the past, with the exception of the southern boundary of Bridger extending one more block to the south. The total number of students in this boundary is projected to be around 590 to 600 students. Bridger's open enrollment capacity is 638, so that will put them at about 94% of their open enrollment capacity. That will leave some room for growth with potential new construction, and we do have a couple of developments in that area that are underway. For Ellis Elementary, the boundaries are significantly different than they have been before, and this is because the southern portion of the new Ellis boundary and the northeastern portion of the Woodruff boundary are areas where we have a high number of students, so we had to split them up some. So you'll see the Ellis boundary is an L shape. It includes going from 500 south, or 500 north, down to Highway 89. It does not include the Riverwalk apartments. Those will be assigned to, or continue to be assigned to, Wilson Elementary. But it follows the railroad tracks on the western side and Main Street on the eastern side of the border. This school is projected to have approximately 328 students. With new construction, we estimate that will go up to about 368, with the possibility, when the apartments on the east side of 600 West and 200 North are completed, we estimate that enrollment could go up to approximately 400, 418. The new school's open enrollment capacity will be 453 students, so that will put them around 72 up to 81% capacity, depending on how quickly those units are completed and families with young students move in. The Wilson boundary will stay very similar to what it currently is. The neighborhood to the east of Main Street will remain as presently constituted, except you'll see that the northern border will go up to 400 North as opposed to where it has currently been. And this boundary will include the Black Hawk townhomes, so they will be bused over to Wilson. That neighborhood is currently bused up to Hillcrest Elementary. With the boundary change for the dual language immersion program, those students will now come to Wilson. That boundary has approximately 479 elementary students in it. The open enrollment capacity at Woodruff, or at Wilson, is 507, so that puts them at 94% of their open enrollment capacity. Again, that's about 85% of their building capacity, so there's still some room to grow in the Wilson building. And finally, for Woodruff Elementary, again, these boundaries are quite similar to what they currently have, except we are moving the northern boundary a little bit further north, and we are making the boundary a little bit thinner, so we're not going as far to the east. This boundary is projected to have 581 students in it right now, with an open enrollment capacity of 692. So that puts them at 84% of their capacity. This, one of the reasons we like this boundary is it does preserve a contiguous neighborhood boundary, and all of these students who live down at the southern portion of the school boundary, where they have previously been bused to Adams, will now be part of the Wilson Elementary School community. And Hillcrest, just to recap, will be a district-wide program. That is where we will run our district dual language immersion programs, both Portuguese and Spanish. Currently, we have 425 students enrolled in the program. We expect that to grow as we will be able to provide transportation services around the district for students in different portions of the district who wish to attend DLI, and we will continue to run kindergarten at Hillcrest. We will intend for that kindergarten to be for students whose families wish them to participate in DLI, so those students can continue to attend kindergarten in the same school where their siblings are attending in upper grades. As this conversation moves forward, there will be a couple of things that will happen. First, we will schedule patron feedback meetings at each elementary school. They will be held on the dates indicated below, and these meetings will allow patrons to share any questions they have or feedback they have regarding the proposed boundary changes. After those meetings have been held, and before taking any action to change any school's attendance area boundary, the board will hold 2 board meetings which will include public hearings to receive comment on the proposed boundary changes. These meetings will be held on January 11th and January 25th as part of the regular meetings of the Logan City School District Board of Education. Once a final board vote is taken, we will begin the process of managing school choice permits. And as a reminder, all students will be assigned to their new boundary school. So any current enrollment permits will be canceled, and all students in the district will be assigned to their new boundary school. Parents who wish to have their child attend a school other than their boundary school will be required to submit an open enrollment permit application. That period begins on December 1st and continues through February 18th. And enrollment applications must be submitted before Friday, February 18th. We will continue to send out more information regarding this process as we get closer, but we do want parents to be aware that if they wish to attend a school other than their assigned boundary school, a permit application will be necessary. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation. If you have any feedback for the Board of Education or the district, please share it with us either through the patron meetings at schools or through our district website at www.loganschools.org.